Let's go ahead and get started. So I'm going to move through these slides fairly quickly. And again, if you have a question, please do feel free to ask the in the Q&A box. Now, I'm not sure how many of you may or may not be considering applying. Hopefully, everyone here joining is considering applying, because for graduate school, especially in engineering, at USC, we are a top graduate program for engineering and computer science. We have a number of resources here, not only within the engineering school, but also at USC. USC was founded back in 1880. It's the oldest private institution on the West Coast. Currently, we have about 47,000 total students. Now, one of the unique things about USC is we have slightly more students pursuing their graduate education than undergrads, believe it or not. So that also holds true within the School of Engineering, where we have more graduate students than undergrads. So as a grad student, you're really part of a large community, and hopefully we hope our grad students feel welcome and when they're here on campus. Now, within the university, there are 23 schools, divisions. Currently, USC, you see rankings, and I believe our graduate engineering program is ranked 20th if you go by the US News and World Report ranking. So just kind of keep that in mind. We are located in Los Angeles, and if you look at a map, we're kind of where what's considered downtown Los Angeles is located, I would say, just directly 2 miles south of kind of main downtown, where there's an LA Live entertainment area, along with where, if any sports fans, where the Los Angeles Lakers, they play their games at the formerly known as Staples Center, Crypto.com Arena now. But directly across the street from our campus is the California Science Center, the Natural History Museum, and our students have free access to those museums, as well as the Los Angeles Memorial Coliseum, which is where the Olympics in 1984 track and field events took place. And in 2028, just in a couple of years now, we're going to host the 2028 Olympics in Los Angeles. So we're really excited about that. This year, the World Cup is going to be all over the US, and there are going to be some games hosted here in Los Angeles, as well as I believe next year the NFL Super Bowl is actually going to be in Los Angeles. So Los Angeles has a lot of events taking place, and I tell students, it's a really great city just to be exposed to so many different things, and not only on campus, but off campus as well. There's a lot of different cultures and events and things going on. So it's a very fast-paced city, but it's a great place for a young person to kind of pursue grad school, because you will hit the ground kind of running. So our engineering school, as I mentioned, let's skip to this next slide. At the university level, we're a tier 1 research university, and within the engineering school, we have a lot of research taking place, and a lot of that research funnels into our PhD programs, but there are also opportunities for research as a master's student as well. But currently, we have around 65 master's programs, and there you see our student population at the graduate level. That's a combined master's and PhD programs. Now, as I mentioned before, all of our master's students here are on. I'm sorry. Let me rewind here. Take a break. We have more graduate students than undergrads at the university level and within the engineering school. At the master's level, we have over 5,000 master's students. About a quarter of those are pursuing their degrees online. So they're working professionals in and around the US, earning their degree online. And they're doing it through this technology-enhanced classroom that allows us to stream the live lecture. It's actually beneficial for our on-campus students as well, and I'll talk about that in a little bit. But that program is called our Dennett Viterbi program. So currently, our application deadline for master's programs for fall 2026 is January 15th. So as I mentioned, it's coming up in a few days. Um, Within our engineering school, there are 8 academic departments, which you see shown here. I'd say our 2 largest departments in terms of numbers of students, excuse me, are computer science and data science and electrical and computer engineering. Combined, they make up more than half of our student population. But a lot of the smaller programs as well really have their own tight communities within each of their departments. And within each of the departments are a number of different offerings where you can really specialize at the master's level. Now, on average, our master's programs take about 1.5 to 2 years to complete, and they're gearing students for industry. So when you're doing kind of your research and comparing different schools to each other, every school is going to be different. Um, Here at USC, in order to earn your master's in engineering or computer science, you simply have to complete all the courses with a 3.0 GPA or better. There's no final big project, there's no required thesis. All of that is optional. So there is a thesis option, which most students actually don't take. Students who do want to still conduct some or be a part of some research can take what's called a directed research option for course credit instead and still gain research experience. And a lot of those students will end up applying to like a PhD program for that. But our master's programs here are course based and really prepping students for industry. Now, our requirements to apply for our master's programs, the application's uh, completely online. At minimum, you should have that background in engineering, math, computer science, some type of hard science. For the majority of our master's programs, there are some that just I can name on one hand that don't require an engineering or computer science degree, but the majority will require some type of engineering, math, or hard science background. The online application, as I mentioned, costs $105 for the application fee. Official transcripts are required. However, they do not have to be physically mailed to us. You simply have to upload an electronic copy of your official transcripts to our online application system. We will require a resume or CV and a personal statement for all applicants. Letters of recommendation will depend upon the program in which you're applying for. So some programs do require them, some do not. So where this matters, you're going to have to, if you're curious, look on our website because we do list which programs require and which ones do not. The GRE is not required for our 2026 cycle. So even if you have taken the GRE, those scores will not be taken into consideration. Now, I mentioned our online program, and again, I'm going through the slides quickly because I want to allow time for questions at the end. DENA Viterbi stands for Distance Education Network at the Viterbi School of Engineering. Our classroom setup is they're studio style classrooms, and really our dean likes to call them technology enhanced classrooms. So it allows for the live lecture to be streamed over the internet. It's all done in-house also. We don't outsource to a third party. It's a live recording or a live stream of the lecture. And I think it benefits our on-campus students in the sense that if you're in one of these classes, you can really just sit in the class and try to absorb and listen. You don't have to scramble to take notes if you don't want to, because you do have access to the recording of the lecture that happens and gets posted onto a server after the lecture is over. So it's a really valuable study tool, especially during also midterms and finals. You can go back and watch footage of a lecture, refresh your memory and your skills on a certain lecture. So this distance program that we have is a really, again, mainly for working professionals, but as an on-campus student, you do have kind of it as a can use it as a resource as well. This slide is specific to any international students outside of the US who have not earned their entire degree at a US institution. We do have English proficiency requirements. Now, this does not necessarily impact your admissibility within the engineering school. This is a university requirement. You see the scores there that are required of students. So if you have any questions about English proficiency requirements, please feel free to ask in the Q&A. As I mentioned earlier, our fall 26 application deadline is quickly approaching. There you see January 15th. That's only a couple days from now. So if you have an application in progress, please try to finish it up and get it in by that January 15th deadline. We also offer career support here. We do not place students into jobs, but within the engineering school, we do have a career office, which I wanted to mention to you briefly, that offers a number of different types of workshops for students. They also host career fairs exclusively for engineering students as well, bringing in and inviting companies who are specifically looking to hire engineering students. So I think that's a benefit as a USC student to have access to that. Now I'm going to kind of turn it over. As I mentioned earlier, we have two student ambassadors who are joining us. This is a resource that we have, this image and this QR code here. I encourage you to scan it and kind of bookmark the page because we have current master students who serve as ambassadors for us. They have been in your shoes before. They know what it's like to kind of be an undergrad looking for grad school, not kind of sure what the next step is going to be. And we allow you the opportunity to chat with them for free. You just have to kind of go in and click chat. I think you have to create an account really quick, but then you can go ahead and start chatting with them. So what I'm going to do now actually is invite my two ambassadors to sign on here. Let me go ahead and stop sharing my screen so they can turn on their cameras. We have Allison and Roderick who are joining me this afternoon. So I want to welcome you both. Thank you both for joining. And first, I'm going to ask you just kind of briefly introduce yourself, where you're from, where you did your undergrad, and what you're currently studying here. So Allison, if you could please go ahead and start.
Um, Hello, I'm Allison. I'm from Canada and I did my undergrad from there. So I did it in astrophysics and I'm now studying my master's in aerospace engineering here.
Awesome. Thank you, Allison. Thank you for coming or joining me today. And then Roderick, take it away.
Hello, everyone. Thank you, William, for introducing us. And my name is Roderick, and I'm originally coming from China. However, I did my undergrad at UC Irvine, which is very nearby from LA. And I'm studying ECE here at USC, and this is my last semester.
Oh, wow. It goes by fast. I remember
Yeah.
meeting Roderick as an undergrad at UC Irvine, so the time definitely flies. Um, I guess obviously you both submitted your application and applied and were admitted. What advice, and maybe I'll start with Allison if you don't mind, what advice would you give students who are still deciding whether to apply before the deadline?
Um, I guess the kind of advice I'll give is the thought process I went through when I was applying. Um, I looked at sort of what resources were at USC, and specifically for me, I was interested in research. So I mostly focused on sort of what kind of research USC was doing, and it really interested me. And I've actually now joined a lab because I want to do research over here. Um, and personally, I've seen a lot of really different, really different research areas and really interesting ones too. That's really what pulled me into USC, and that's sort of the advice I would give you. Like look for what you want to do and look to see if it aligns, if USC aligns with what you want to do.
That's incredible. Thank you. And I actually, that brings me to a follow-up, if you don't mind. What research area, what research are you doing, and how did you go about kind of finding that as a master's student?
Um, so I'm actually in aerospace, but the research I found is in astronautical engineering. But I found that there were a lot of overlaps. I found it through just talking to people at USC. The profs are great, so I initially wasn't gonna do this sort of field of research, but I was speaking to another professor, and he sort of directed me in the direction of research that I was interested in. That's really how I found the lab. He just said he told me this lab is doing research that sort of aligns with your interests. Um, yeah, it's sort of I don't know if it's an unconventional way, but I just sort of spoke to people to try to find out um what would align with what I wanted to do.
Yeah, I think that brings up kind of the networking aspect of just especially how it is and how USC brands itself as the Trojan Network and things like that. Congrats on that, by the way.
Thank you.
Uh, Roderick, any advice you'd give to students still deciding whether to apply before the deadline?
Yeah, of course. So Allison was very right on the spot. Of course, everyone should do their research before applying to a school, and USC not only can provide wonderful research opportunities, but also great networking opportunities, like William mentioned. Because as a lot of people probably know, that USC is known for its Trojan spirit and Trojan networking. I have benefited a lot from it, and I can talk more about it. But like in terms of applying, I would say the personal essay would be one of the most important thing in my mind when I was applying to USC, because unlike a lot of students who were having like extremely high GPA, my GPA was okay. It was around a 3.4, and it wasn't like concerning 2 point something, but it wasn't as high as a lot of other students. But the personal statement or personal essay allows you to have this chance to explain what happened during your undergrad and your engineering journey, your science journey, and what made you to choose USC, and combine your experience and I would suggest that combine your, if somehow GPA was not your strong spot, combine the explanation of that with your personal experience that you had in your past, would be very beneficial for your application.
That's great advice. Thank you. Um, and I will follow up with what it's a great thing that you didn't select yourself out. So my advice would be don't self-select yourself out just because you're worried about maybe the GPA, you're comparing yourself and getting in your head. It worked out well for you, Roderick. So good on you for that. Um, I guess one thing I'll follow up with you about is what's one thing that you wish you knew before kind of applying or enrolling at USC that you didn't know maybe before?
Um, Very cool. I have to say, I feel like I've known a lot of things before I apply, because
You're
uh,
close.
as as you know, I have been connecting with so many different advisor students from USC even before I was applying, because USC was basically my dream school and one of the very few school I applied. So I was connecting with William, I was connecting with other advisors to ask tons of questions to annoy them with my questions about application, school, networking events, and everything. So, instead of telling you what I wish I've known, I feel like I can say something about, oh, what about USC that really, even I've known a lot about USC, but this one thing that still surprised me was the networking, as a lot of people would talk about. But after you join USC, you'd feel like everyone is pushing you forward to be able to network more with fellow students, with professors, and with industry people. The day at the orientation that I joined, I felt that spirit, or I felt that strength, or I felt that power somehow pushed into me and letting me to be so extrovert and letting me to be able to talk to so many strangers without fear, which is which is very weird and strange, but surprising that you'll feel that spirit once you're on campus.
Very cool. Allison, I guess I'll kind of ask a different question for you. And again, if any of any of our students here who have joined have a question for either myself, Allison, or Roderick, please feel free to ask in the Q&A. Allison, if you could describe kind of campus culture in 3 words, how would you describe it? Today is the first day uh, of spring semester also, so it's a brand new year, first day back. But if you could describe kind of the the culture, and your first semester was fall, is that correct?
Yeah.
Last fall? Okay. So you got we're talking a short time span here, but in the fall, if you could describe what was the fall campus culture like in 3 words?
3 words. I'd say welcoming was like a big one. Um, I don't know, warm because I'm from Canada. Um, and just um, I just say very like a very open
Cool.
sort of community. Yeah.
Um, I guess I'll extend the same question to you, Roderick. If you could describe the campus culture. You kind of already did describe campus culture, but if you
Of
can
course.
simply do it in 3 words.
Um, the very first word coming to my mind is ambition or ambitious, because you can see many students who are fighting for their future, for supporting each other, and supporting definitely another word. And the last one would be probably diverse, I would say. And that's something I really love about the USA is how it's supporting students from all the cultural backgrounds. And in a multicultural society like USC, you're gonna find support. You're gonna find people who are just like you. In a lot of different places, in a lot of clubs and societies in USA, so you're not alone. Yeah,
Um, Thank you very much for that answer. Um, I thought of something when you were in the middle, and so I want to make sure that I ask Allison, because Roderick, you alluded to the culture and just kind of the diversity here. But I'm curious, Allison, coming from Canada, what was your experience like? Did you have trouble adjusting? I'm trying to, get to the differences between maybe from an undergrad into a grad. What does your typical weekend look like as a grad student compared to maybe the undergrad?
I would say I feel like it's a lot more flexible as compared to undergrad. Um, I think the main difference is the course load is a lot less, so I get to focus a lot more on my courses. And
Mhm.
also, I want to put more of my attention into research because I think eventually I want to do a PhD. So in that sense, that's sort of the biggest difference I've seen in coursework compared to when I compare grad and undergrad.
Sure. Yeah.
Mhm.
What do you want to do? What's your career goal? You said you wanted to do a PhD. Do you have like a big goal in mind?
Um, I know I have like a rough idea of what I want to do a PhD in. I think that's where I want to take my career at. It's in sort of like machine learning in space systems. Um, that's sort of what I'm building up to right now. And I think that's what I want to keep doing.
Very exciting. You got to get data centers in space. I was just reading about that.
Yeah.
Very cool. You could be a part of that.
Yeah, that is
Roderick,
a pretty cool project.
yeah, yeah, definitely. Roderick, how about yourself? I guess going from undergrad, you went to UCI, it's quarter system based to kind of semester system. How was that transition for you from undergrad into kind of grad life? And what do you do for fun?
Oh, what do I do for fun? I focus too much on probably career growth, so I haven't been going out too much at USA, I would say. But like, uh, what do I do? My UCI life was nice too, but it was during COVID, so like probably 2 or 3 years were like either online where we were stuck inside. So that's not the same for USC. So my transition was pretty nice. At USC, even though I live like 40 miles away, I still want to go every single day to campus because I just want to join all those kind of campus activities and
Mhm.
also, all those networking events. One thing I really liked about Viterbi is that Viterbi attracts a lot of professional people from industry to have seminars here, and you're gonna have that pretty much almost every week, and having all those managers, all those like professors from other universities or from very famous companies, such as we have one, I think on the 16th, there's some manager from Boeing that's coming to our campus and do a talk. So those events will really expand your knowledge in the industry and really having you to meet all those professionals will increase your view of the world, I would say.
And are those part of like a specific class, or are they outside that you can kind of just outside kind of opportunities that you can seek out?
I believe those seminar emails will be sent to all the Viterbi students, so everyone will get a chance to attend.
Mhm. Okay, cool. Um, I guess Allison, how would you describe your first semester, having just finished it?
Um, I think it was uh pretty good. I spent a lot of my first semester just looking for what kind of activities there are to do at USC and then sort of what resources there are. Um, and studying, of course.
Mhm.
Um, so the first thing I did was look for sort of research to do. And then the other thing was look for like clubs and activities that I could do. There's some really cool ones. There's one called Peaks and Professors that I was really interested in looking at. Unfortunately, it kept getting filled up every time I looked into going, but hopefully I'll get to do that this semester. Um, and yeah, I think they even have ice skating that I was interested in doing because I did that back home quite a bit. But yeah, there's a lot of things to do, and I think I would like right now. I think I'm still finding newer and newer things to do because there's just so much. Um, but yeah, I think I'll keep exploring it down that path. But
Yeah.
it was a good first semester.
Are the classes, is it manageable for you? Kind of the workload and everything?
I would say so, yeah.
Okay.
It's right now I'm taking two classes. Um or I took two classes in the fall semester and I think I'll continue that now. And I think this semester the research part of it will pick up a bit more, so the workload might increase this semester. But it's been pretty manageable. There's been time to do other things as well.
Okay, great. Um, I'm gonna wind it down here. If there are any last minute questions, I see a question. This a question came in. It's specific to a different program, but I do want to ask. I'll ask both of you, and I'll go to Roderick first. Since you've taken a few more classes and have them under your belt, what's the kind of class size, average class size you've seen in your experience as an ECE major?
Yeah, of course. So for UCE major or any other Viterbi majors, we're gonna have you're most likely to take 400 level classes, 500 level classes, and 600 level 100 classes. 400 level meaning 400 level classes are usually the level of the last semester of those undergrad level, and 500 level will you will be starting to take master level classes, and 6 level classes are usually master and PhD level. So, depends on the level. I believe the class size will vary a little bit. 400 level, I would say around um, a little bit more because you're gonna probably take 400 classes with some of the undergrad. So I would say a little bit over 100. 500 classes, you're gonna see anywhere between 20 to 90 people. Some classes are a little bit more popular. You're gonna get a little bit more 80 or 90, but some classes are extremely small, like 20 people. Like one of the classes I took last semester.
Okay.
And for 600 level classes, even smaller than 500 because you're gonna have less and less people taking those hard PhD level classes in the 600. Those 600 classes are really cool because once you start to take them, since you have a very small class size, you get to talk with your professor and TA a lot more, which is a very, very great opportunity because in Viterbi, a lot of our professors are also coming from the industry and they're able to refer students to their jobs. So yeah.
Very cool. Allison, I'm curious on the AME side. I know sample size is small, two classes last semester. How are those class sizes? Were you in the 400 level classes or 500 level?
I've only taken 500 so far. Um, One was pretty big. It was around 100 students because that's a mandatory course I think all of AME has to take to
Mhm.
graduate. But the other one was around 30 students, I believe. And I think that's the average class size that I've heard in AME if it's not mandatory.
Yeah.
That's about all I know.
Yeah. So I think, yeah, some of the mandatory classes, what I'm hearing from both of you, those are going to have a lot of students. And then the kind of further you go down the funnel of getting the classes you need, the class size will vary a lot more. So thank you for that. I'm gonna ask I just one more question and I'm gonna wrap up the presentation. Before I forget, though, for those of you joining, I have a helpful FAQ that I wanted to share with everyone. So if you're an in-progress applicant considering applying, this is a helpful FAQ that hopefully will help answer some of those questions that may come up while completing the application. Um, the final question I have for you both is just, if you could, I know we have this student ambassador chat that thank you so much for being a part of this. If you could speak directly to students, listening in today who haven't applied yet, what would you say to them? Allison, go ahead.
Um, just in general. Um,
Just in
yes.
general, they have the January 15th deadline. They're stressing out, trying to, answer all the questions because as you know, it's not rocket science or brain surgery, but there's a lot of questions in the application, right? Um, so any advice you would give to them kind of to help ease them to completion?
I guess I would say when doing your application, just put put your best foot forward, just put um everything that you've done and everything that you want to do in your statement and when you're putting your application together. That's what I did. I sort of wrote down everything I knew and then I wrote down everything that I wanted to do in my personal statement. I remember when I put that together. And yeah, just do your best and good luck.
Thank you. Roderick, if you could speak directly, what advice would you have to those who haven't applied yet?
If you're, there's only one thing I want to say. I never regretted that I come to USC. It is definitely helpful. I guess there's one sentence I can conclude this with. It's just that USC taught me everything that I needed to get a job, and I did get a job through USC. So,
Where?
we're in a semiconductor company in the Bay Area.
Oh, congrats. That's awesome.
Thank you. So yeah, if you haven't applied yet, I would definitely suggest you to apply because USC has all the resources you needed to be successful in today's market. And yeah, good luck.
Thank you both. Allison, Roderick, thank you for joining today. Um, those of you who have stayed with us, thank you so much. If you have any additional questions leading up to the application deadline, please do feel free to reach out to myself, my any of my colleagues on hand. I'll go ahead and share. We also have a helpful contact page shown here on the screen that you can reach out to us. And there you see also we have our social media channels. My advice to you is, if you're applying, in life, it's good to be humble. When you're applying, definitely talk about yourself and your accomplishments. So that being said, I want to thank everyone joining, Roderick, Allison, my fellow colleagues who have answered all the questions in the Q&A. And you are prospective students who have joined today. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, your morning or evening, wherever you're joining us from, wherever you're joining us from. Thank you for taking the time out to listen to our webinar. With that being said, have a great rest of your day and fight on.